as we are diving into round 2 of this qualifier bracket, mate. Our Vietnamese boy just took down a Korean Zerg. Can he do the same to a Korean Protoss?
That we'll see. That we'll see.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And we'll see if...
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to say, checking for the other streams right now, I believe the only other English streams qualifying this CSL qualifier are Zombie Grub and Rotterdam.
Yeah.
Could be mistaken there.
Funada, Chicken Man, Steadfast, all the other English casters. To be fair, I don't think Steadfast was covering the previous TSL qualifiers.
He wasn't. He did the smart thing and went to bed at a proper time.
He did NA, not Korea.
He did NA. He did do NA.
Yeah, but mate, here we go.
Here we go. Indeed, we are now kicking off our series on Pride of Altaris LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, we of course have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing Team NV, which stands for NightMare. No.
And... Did you just realize what you just said? Aye. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Pride of Altaris LE, going for a pool first opening. We have the Vietnamese Zerg player himself, the king of Southeast Asia. He is representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA. The Grand Platypus himself, mate.
He is the Pelican case.
Pelican case. The big cat.
Have we ever asked him about that? I don't remember.
About what? The Pelican?
Yeah, he started calling himself the Pelican at some point.
Well, like,
we all just rolled with it.
We were talking about how, like, he's one of the most GPOs, and he went with Pelican because it's big, you know, so he can fit all the GPOs inside his mouth. Yeah,
I get ya.
Just because it's big, like that was the correlation there.
I get ya.
Where it would have made more sense if he just called himself Platypus, but okay, sure, yeah.
Well, because you save it for later. Question mark. Like a gopher.
He has to win 15 GPOs in a row first. That's how you get the Platypus.
He does, exactly. He stores the GPO championships in his mouth to give to his kids.
There you go, mate. There you go. Who are his kids?
Ashen 1.
There you go.
Ashen 1, Lamjoy.
They are in the chat. They are in the chat cheering for their boy, and we'll see how they can do here, as so far we have some pretty standard openers, other than the fact that MeomaikA did go for a pool first, so he always does this every single ZvP. He just, doesn't want to be proxied or cannon rushed.
Yeah, it's more of a safety thing than anything else. That and, well, if it's a ZvZ, a way to get earlier queens to take out your overlords. Unfortunately, Protoss doesn't have overlords, so MeomaikA doesn't see the need of getting extra queens early on.
Yeah, feels bad, man. Meanwhile, we do have a Stargate opener. This was scouted by MeomaikA with the Overlord, so he is well aware of the Void Ray that is going to be coming across the map, and MeomaikA goes for a very fast lair.
I hope he's going to use it for Hydras instead of Roaches.
It's most likely going to be a Hydra push. That's just what MeomaikA does. But we'll see. We'll keep our eyes open here on what he's going to be whipping out. As we do have a couple of spores being thrown down. Again, MeomaikA, just because of the way he plays, he doesn't lean towards queens to defend. Mainly Hydras.
And he does. He also gets muscular augments first, typically, instead of groove spine, so he wants to be aggressive.
And he does, as the first Void Ray is going across the map to do whatever damage it can. Thankfully, MeomaikA was able to move his Overlords away and avoid the path of this Void Ray.
Yeah, no supply block yet here for MeomaikA. Ideally, wouldn't be supply blocked at all, but I doubt it. This Overlord, or this Void Ray rather, wants some damage.
Yeah,
wants a target.
And it looks like the Void Ray is going to dip into the natural base, and oh no, he doesn't scout the Hydra Den.
Turns around just before he can get vision on it, man. That's a massive feels bad. If I've ever seen one.
Yeah, feels bad, man. Meanwhile, Lynx do get across the map, and they will distract the army. And yo, things are working out. Okay, first, the Oracle is going to get across, and no! It's so important that he scouts the Hydra then! Go!
You keep turning around!
He's afraid of the Lynx! Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so...
This is such a good mind game, though, for MeomaikA, because he sends the Lynx out.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get damage done.
Oh, no!
He's drawing the army away.
The third base is so exposed, though. We'll see if the Oracle does go to it, and it looks like he will. Drones are going to go down left and right. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Does get 5 drone kills in the end, and the Hydralisk pops out, confirming for NightMare that a Hydra Den is on the way. Is it too late, though? Looking at things, NightMare is only now getting the Twilight Council, so Zealots aren't going to be as potent as they would be.
Well, a couple of things first here. We have a massive Ling Flood, and with these things, he's gonna... Oh, no, he doesn't get a surround on the Adepts! Ay, 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 but he will cancel the third base nonetheless. Meanwhile, it was a double Stargate opening, and which is ideal when you're going Hydras, as in, like, Hydras want to fight Void Rays this early on. So NightMare, with that scout, he is forced to transition out and go into a more ground-focused composition.
Exactly. And it's going to take a lot of time before he gets there, though. Again, the Twilight Council only now finishing up. Charge is on the way, but you're going to need a little bit more than just Chargelets. Ideally, you would throw down a Twilight Council as well. Or not a Twilight Council, sorry. A Templar Archives for Storm and Archons. There we go. It is on the way.
Yeah.
But it's only on the way. It's not here.
As well as the Gateway Explosion. So because of this, MeomaikA cannot go pure Hydra. He will just die horribly if he does so. He needs something else. He needs Lurkers, Vipers, Banelings. A better way to deal with Chargel Archon other than just Ling Hydra.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic for MeomaikA. Or at least I should say, I'm feeling optimistic that MeomaikA is going to go for it. The Infestation Pit has been thrown down.
Yeah,
we have seen historically he uses it just for Infestors,
I was about to say the same.
Behind that.
I'm feeling Infestors.
You still get a Lurker Den behind that.
I'm feeling Infestors. I don't think we're going to see a Lurker Den.
Come on,
because
please,
we know how much he likes Ling Hydra, and the only way to make Ling Hydra really work is to incorporate a spellcaster, and we have seen him go for Infestors time and time again. But he is going for that Hive.
Yeah, he is. And before it's just Vipers.
I mean, he doesn't have a Lurker Den, and if he was going for Lurkers, he should have started it now. So, yeah, this is still very risky of MeomaikA. Again, he often like handicaps himself with like his army compositions. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, we shall, as MeomaikA is trying to get some damage out across the map. There aren't any Archons or Storms just yet. There are a couple of shield batteries. There is a cannon in position.
Unfortunately, MeomaikA was treating this army as if it had Storm. He didn't know that it wasn't done, so he was mad respecting it. Otherwise, he could have actually dove on these Void Rays and maybe even taken them all out.
Yeah, typically you do want to respect the High Templar because, you know, usually you don't know whether or not they have Storm. You don't want to take that unnecessary risk. In this case, MeomaikA did kind of have to take a risk to put himself ahead, so...
Yeah, exactly. And now Storm is done. NightMare is pushing out across the map. What do we have to defend? We have Hydras and Lings. That is it. Oh boy, again, not the most ideal army, but maybe MeomaikA can still like get better positioning. We do have Vipers on the way. I don't know how useful they're gonna be.
Well, they just yoinked all the High Templar, right?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Oh god, as the fifth base is, or the goal base is denied here. Decent kiting with the Hydras, but again, he's losing Hydras, which are incredibly expensive, and the push just keeps on coming, and we have plenty of energy for Storm.
Yeah, the push keeps coming, and just don't stop coming. The Vipers are out, but they still have to suckle on their youth juice. I'm really not sure how valuable Vipers can be in this position, though. Like, you can't Blinding Cloud anything, because Chargers don't care about Blinding Cloud, and neither do Storms.
And Archons have short range anyway, like...
Exactly.
It's basically, like, I guess, yoink the Archons, but the Chargelets are the real problem. They're just running on in. They're going to kill everything. The third base goes down. MeomaikA is trying to bank up whatever he can. Here we go. We have a massive Storm and feedbacks on all the Vipers.
Yeah, that one final Viper just gave up. GG's called. NightMare takes game number 1. And I gotta be honest, I feel like most of that was the sheer stubbornness of MeomaikA. He had that game at the start. He just never transitioned out of his Ling Hydra composition.
Well, that's just MeomaikA. Again,
It is.
during the cast, I was saying that I don't think I've ever seen him make a lurker before. It's just not it's just not what he does. And he has his own playstyle and his own way of achieving the same end goal, and that's why I do think that Infestors would have been better than Vipers there. Just for those fungals, right? To lock down those
High Templar, those Zealots.
Zealots more
they
importantly.
Can get in range. True.
It's just at the end of the day, he didn't have an answer to Zealots.
He had no AoE whatsoever, which does make sense because, as MeomaikA tells us, AoE dichach brovi dit game hoive.
You take a screenshot?
I'll take a screenshot.
Shake your head, mate. As we do see NightMare taking the first game, and we are moving on to game number 2.
Indeed, we are. We're just playing Curious Minds. No, we play in Player of Altaris. Haha! Life hacks by having the stream open.
There you go.
But yeah, we're going on a completely different map, at least when it comes to size and rush distance. Hopefully, hopefully that works a little bit better in MeomaikA's advantage. This game number 1 was pretty brutal. Regardless, we are going to be continuing our series here on Berlingrad LE. We're in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner. We, of course, have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing Team NV. He is, without a doubt, his opponents anyway, NightMare.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player. He is red, representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA. And yeah, despite scouting his opponent, unfortunately, MeomaikA didn't have the tools that he needed to deal with the Charge Lot Archon. Bit of a feels bad man. And that's why at the end in that final engagement, it did look pretty one-sided, just because the units that he had, just Ling Hydra and Vipers.
Hard countered.
Yeah, it's not what you want against Zealots and Archons and Storm.
Yeah. It's one of the hardest counters you can really get. I'm just saying, man, if we went Lurker Hydra,
well,
then MeomaikA would have been a player to have the counters. But yes, I mean, as you pointed out, MeomaikA just doesn't like the unit for whatever reason.
Yeah. Like again, I would have expected either Infestors, or just Lingbane Hydra. You know. Yeah. Which, to be fair, MeomaikA also doesn't really like Banelings either. But he likes them a little bit more than Lurkers. Like, we have seen him make Banelings before. As rare as it can be.
As rare as it just about is, but I don't think we'll be seeing Banelings in this game either. Not yet, anyway. As MeomaikA follows up his pool with an Evo Chamber.
Oh, this is so risky, and the probe doesn't scout it yet, but again, the probe is right next to it, like the balls that MeomaikA has to throw down the Evo Chamber, and it will not get scouted.
Hiding directly in plain sight, you'll love to see it.
Well, we were talking about Banelings in game number 1, and we are gonna be seeing them here in game 2, mate. I imagine we will eventually have a Baneling nest. Lingbane is gonna be the answer here for MeomaikA.
You need some way of busting through the Protoss walls, and that way is usually with Banelings. MeomaikA grabbing a third base, but you and I both know that he's not going to be saturating that for quite some time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for the time being, he does have to work on his economy, you know, until +1 is a little bit closer, but once it does, kind of near the end, we should be seeing massive links on the way. It's gonna be on NightMare to scout this, and he probably will. We should eventually see an Oracle coming out after the Void Ray, and we should see NightMare get eyes on this. A lot of shoulds.
Yeah, if he turns around every time with his Void Ray and Oracle again, then it's gonna be a bit of a different story. But at the same time, turning around with his Void Rays is kind of ideal to defend against Lingbane this early on.
that it is. At the moment, we do have queens in position here to try and ward away any kind of oracle. First warder is going to come out, quickly checking MeomaikA's vision. He actually brings everything back home. He actually doesn't have a single overlord across the map.
Yup, someone laying out.
Ooh, someone
is...
Out? It's probably you.
Yeah, my ping just jumped to 300.
Mate, I think you need to leave. Oh, yeah. God. Aye. Okay. I just set up the share screen. Thankfully, nothing was happening at the time.
Game resumed.
So good.
Indeed, it is.
Yeah.
Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like every other broadcast. Maybe like 2 times a week or something. Yaku's internet just dies.
Yeah, I feel like it's an Asia server kind of thing because I've never had this issue on NA.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd. Meanwhile, we do have a massive link flood coming across the map. This is scouted by the Void Ray, and what's interesting is that behind this, we do not have a Bailey Nest. Instead, he's going straight into a lair.
Told ya.
Ooh, meanwhile, the Lings are going to be able to get across the map. Unfortunately, the wall is a wall, so the Lings won't be able to break through. Oh, they can. There's no shield battery.
There isn't. Only a single adept there to defend. Thankfully, the probe is able to throw down a backup wall.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, there aren't enough Lings here to even deny the third base. So, that was such a massive investment by MeomaikA, and the Lings got 1 adept.
For how many Lings went down? Like, about 12, 15, 18 Lings.
Yeah.
Not a very efficient trade whatsoever. Behind all this, MeomaikA is going to go for Hydroden once again, which is a little questionable, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just such a shame that these Lings just didn't deal any damage, and it's a little bit too late to hit the third. If he had gone for the third instead of the natural, I do think that he would have been able to delay it, force a cancel, but now it is too late. Third is up and running. We have a shield battery as well. This third base will not go down.
Yeah, NightMare's just going to be able to maintain a very stable economy, no matter what MeomaikA throws his way. For the time being, at any rate.
Exactly. MeomaikA is transitioning into Hydras, but just like the previous game, NightMare is transitioning into Charge Lot Archon.
And this time he did scout the Hydroden much earlier. So yeah, he's going to have an even easier time defending against what MeomaikA has. In fact, I say defending. At any point with this earlier transition, he can decide to just pull the trigger and go across the map immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, this Adept is going to fall here in the front line, but we have a sentry being warped in. Like, these Lings cannot break through. Again, another massive investment into these Lings not paying for themselves. MeomaikA needs to approach this in a different way. Hydras and Lings are okay, but he needs like either a Bailey Nest or that Lurker Den, like anything else. Otherwise, he's gonna get rolled over again. Oh.
No, the wall is not a wall anymore. Now it is.
Yeah, but mate, MeomaikA, he's pushing out now. And this is a great timing. Charge isn't done. The gateways are only just finishing up. +1 isn't done either. Like, this is a pretty deadly timing here that MeomaikA is trying to hit.
Yeah, MeomaikA has quite a lot of upgrades. Whether or not he goes for the throat or goes for the third base, either way, he'll still get a lot of value from taking out the bases. I feel like he should just about go for the throat. Look at that army supply difference, mate.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be able to push through. He breaks into the wall. Meanwhile, the Hydras are here to deal with the Oracle and the Void Ray. They all go down. Charge did just finish, though, just in time. So will NightMare have enough to defend?
Just in time, quote unquote. I feel like it's just out of time here because the Hydras are already in position. The Lings are starting to flood in.
Oh, exactly. It's so close. The Queens are finally joining the fray. All the Zealots are being taken out. MeomaikA, he's breaking through. And there is no more shield batteries. He took it out. The overcharge was already gone.
Yeah, the gateways do just about finish up. But does NightMare even have enough minerals to warp in the reinforcements he needs? I don't think so anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He's losing everything here in the natural base. The Robo goes down. NightMare, he's trying to back up his army here in his main base to try and hold on. He knows that MeomaikA's all in. MeomaikA only just barely has more drones than his opponent. But yo, the Lings are flooding in. He's getting us around on the Archons.
Really just preventing an escape. The Hydras are starting to move into position to take them out just like so. NightMare has a lot of minerals. He has a lot of gateways, but he has to wait for them to come off cooldown, I think. One good warping of Zealots, I think, will be able to stem the tide temporarily, but can he do much more than that?
We'll see. I mean, the Zealots are being warped in, as you said. NightMare has plenty of minerals, by the way. The Archons are trying to catch the reinforcements behind this, but the Hydras and the Queens, I think there's just a little bit too much here from MeomaikA.
Yeah, fighting from the high ground as well, really dominating that choke point. Making sure that, I think there were some Zealots that came out and tried to attack from the low ground earlier on. They just could not get any surrounds whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, MeomaikA isn't rallying anymore. It looks like there is enough here for NightMare to clean up at home with these Zealots and these Archons. Ooh, nice target fire there by MeomaikA, but this will be cleaned up. But has MeomaikA dealt enough damage?
Well, we're at 52 drones versus 38 probes, so he's done a lot of damage, even if it's not necessarily enough. It's enough to keep him in the game, to say the least. And it's enough to get him to the next step, which is going to be with just another push, all right? +2.
Exactly. Like, the +2 timing should be huge. Like, MeomaikA, honestly, at this position, even though he doesn't have the best army, going pure Hydra Ling, just going for another big, strong Hydra push, should be enough to break NightMare, even though he does have, like, arguably the better army, like, composition-wise. Oh my god, behind this, actually, MeomaikA got a Spire.
He did. And Mutalists are now on the way. He just really wants to make sure that NightMare does not have any probes whatsoever. After all the damage that's been done, there's no way NightMare can throw down any shield batteries. There's no way he can throw down any cannons at his mineral lines.
But he has Phoenixes.
This
is the terrifying thing. NightMare, he sees the Spire, he sees the Mutas, he's getting ready for the Mutas. Shouldn't really do too much here. We'll see. It can still be difficult for Phoenixes to micro against Mutas without their range upgrade. And thankfully, MeomaikA didn't overinvest into these Mutas. He only made 5 just to harass the mineral line.
Yeah, as long as he target fires the probes, as long as he doesn't A-move them into Phoenixes, then MeomaikA can continue to keep NightMare's worker count at an abysmal level.
Exactly, he does take out one of the Phoenixes, but the rest of them are here to focus down all of the Mutas. The Mutas, how many probes are they going to get? They get 2.
Not too ideal here for those 5 Mutalists, unfortunately.
That's brutal. That was 500 gas gone down the drain, but the Hydra push should still be enough regardless. Like, again, like, what is there here to deal with Hydras? Storm is on the way, but it's less than halfway done.
Honestly speaking, forcing NightMare to make all those Phoenixes is actually massive here from MeomaikA. This is what a Phoenix is going to do against Hydras.
Exactly. That's why push, puppy, push! Oh my god, MeomaikA now is a great timing. He's ahead by 40 supply. Storm isn't done, but because he goes back home, Storm will be done for the next push, so MeomaikA will have to approach this in a different way.
I guess he just doesn't realize how ahead he was.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I understand, you know, maybe he's a little bit nervous, maybe he's a little bit scared, he has a little respect for his opponent, but because of that, he is giving NightMare a way back into this game. Thankfully, for the first time, MeomaikA in a ZvP, he's making a lurker den.
What?
What? It just took Yaku leaving the game. But he's making a lurker den, he's making lurkers, so because of this, he won't just roll over to Chargelets and Archons.
Wow. Totally impressed.
He's crazy.
Well, Phoenixes come in to reciprocate the probe damage from earlier. NightMare has not quite caught up yet in the worker count, but he's getting very, very close.
He's basically caught up at this point. Like, economic wise, like, as a Protoss player, being down in workers is a pretty normal thing. So honestly, he's okay economically. He does have Storm as well. He's just lacking in overall army supply. He needs a little bit more time. And meanwhile, MeomaikA, I'm looking at him. When is he going to push with his army? Is he going to wait for Vipers? Is he going to wait for the Hive?
We'll see. I don't think there's an infestation pit on the map yet from MeomaikA, which is honestly very worrisome. These lurkers are great, especially defensively, but without upgrades, you can't quite push across the map yet.
Speaking of push, NightMare is coming across the map. The lurkers are not in position. MeomaikA does not have any vision in the middle of the map. He doesn't know where the army is.
He does not. Now he gets a little bit of a whiff of it, though. Most of his army is drawn towards the south, but there should be enough reinforcements from MeomaikA to be able to defend here. It's It's gonna be all about these storms, puppy.
MeomaikA just lost 3 lurkers for free. The massive storms on the Hydras. The rest of the lurkers are coming in, and again, this is the only way that MeomaikA can hold here. And the lurkers, their groove spines go off, and he is able to just barely take out a couple of the High Templar.
Yeah, a couple of High Templar that do have quite a bit of energy on them. At that, the Archons are just about dealt with, as were the Zealots.
Yeah, that they were, mate. The spine wall as well coming in clutch for MeomaikA. He defends beautifully. Now he's going across the map.
He took out the War Prism.
He did, mate.
He took out the War Prism with an Archon inside of it. Oh, that was the vast majority of the army supply there for NightMare. MeomaikA getting ready for round 2.
Exactly, and here we go. This time with lurkers, with hydras, with lings. Sure, there are a couple of archons, but mate, there is no real response. There are no storms available. There's no High Templar, only archons, and that is not going to be enough, mate.
Especially when he marches these archons into lurker range, like so.
Oh, exactly. You know, for the longest time he was known as MeomaikA Lair, but maybe today he's looking to advance on into MeomaikA Hive, as the lurkers are holding strong here. There's nothing left for NightMare. For the second time this game, he's going to lose his natural.
GG is called, and MeomaikA takes that map, bringing us all the way to the ace match. I instinctively pressed the S to get out of the game. I should know.
Oh, God.
GG.
GG, well played. We are going to our ace match. Again, that was a very, very nice timing there by MeomaikA. Again, if he had waited a little bit too long, then that Ling Hydra all-in would not have worked. That was so close. And also, it did also work because it's Berlingrad, right? It's the smallest map.
Yeah, definitely would not have been able to get away with this on Pride of Altaris, but he used the map to his advantage. Well played here, MeomaikA. And with that, he is not out of the tournament. May have a chance of advancing to face Gumiho, who has just taken out Max Packs 2-0 and is waiting on the other side of this series for an opponent.
Exactly. Very strong showing there by Gumiho to 2-0 Max Packs. Of course, to be fair, he did have the server advantage there. So, again, if MeomaikA wants to qualify today, it is going to be through kind of like the... Oh, God. The gauntlet, I should say.
Exactly. And we're just about getting into our main match here. MeomaikA saying ZvP here at the noise, and will be joining us in this honestly very close series so far. Again, I still stand by that game number 1 was only MeomaikA only rolled over in game number 1 because of his own stubbornness. He had a lot of control. He had the map control for most of that game. He just did not respect the army of NightMare, I suppose.
Exactly. He did, though, in game number 2, and now we are going into game number 3. Will our Protoss player kind of approach this in a different manner? Or will our Zerg player have something else in store for him?
He's going to proxy Void Ray.
Awesome.
He could go Tempest on this map. Maybe. We'll find out as we conclude this series on Hardwire LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, finding all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have a blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Team NV. He is NightMare.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player. He is red, representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA.
I'm just keeping my eyes peeled here. Cool for us, but
yeah,
is he just gonna use it for safety, or is he gonna go for, I don't know, a bit of an early lair?
I mean, this is, you know, the pull first that we typically see from MeomaikA. He's just doing it for safety. Of course, we are going to be seeing NightMare probe scouting, and we'll confirm the opener that he's been seeing every game so far in this entire series.
Yeah, pool, hatch, gas. Although MeomaikA didn't go for the early Evo chamber on Pride of Altaris City.
He did not. He did not. And which is why I appreciate that NightMare this time actually checks behind the mineral line. If you remember, he did not do that in game number 2 with his scouting probe. Ooh!
Unfortunately, very early Roach Warren. NightMare, you gotta see this. You gotta see this, buddy.
He's so close. He sees it.
He sees it.
He sees
Just
it.
barely sees the very early Roach Warren.
MeomaikA is so incredibly ballsy to do that. He doesn't know if he got scouted, by the way. Like, it only just barely happened. It's also such a shame for MeomaikA that NightMare did scout it.
Right, just barely. Also well aware of the links coming this way to apply a little bit of pressure. So, yeah, an earlier wall is on the way. I said wall is on the way.
Yeah, we have the Zealot coming out as well
The wall.
as the probe here for the wall. So NightMare does hold beautifully. It is all about the roaches that are the follow-up. And again, NightMare should have recognized that it is a roach warren coming down.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how he techs from here.
Yeah,
whether he gets a Robo or a Stargate so far. Neither. Focus entirely on defending against the Lynx.
Oh my god,
that get a kill on that gateway.
Mate, things are snowballing here, and MeomaikA's all in. He has not made a single drone. Unfortunately, what I was about to say is that I don't think that NightMare, because it happened so quickly, I don't think he clicked on the Roach Warren. For all he knows, it's an Evo chamber for another +1 all in, which hits so much later as well. So at the moment, he has not respected this. Like, we need a shield battery. Finally, he gets started, but the roaches are already on the way.
Yeah, thankfully there are no Ravagers yet, though, so at least the shield battery is out of harm's way for now. No link speed just yet. That's also what happens when you go for the earlier Roach Warren like that. Finally, NightMare will confirm the Roach is coming out.
Yeah,
and honestly, I think he has a decent position for now. No, the Roaches get behind the wall!
They get behind the wall. They are flooding on forward. They have to try and focus down this shield battery as fast as possible. Shield battery does finish up, but it will go down.
He didn't even get to utilize it with or without battery overcharge. And with that, the Lynx are taking the pylon.
Mate.
That's the majority of the production here for NightMare. Is MeomaikA gonna do it? Is MeomaikA gonna face Gilmio in the next round?
We'll see. The Void Ray will come out, and the Void Ray will be able to clean everything up eventually, but how much damage is going to be dealt before that happens, and can he deal with these shield batteries?
Some very good probe drilling so far from NightMare, but they are gonna go down nonetheless.
Oh god, exactly. The shield battery does finish up in the end. Overcharge is available here for NightMare. Again, because of this Void Ray, everything will be cleaned up, but Link Speed is about to kick in, and once that happens, these Lings, they can avoid the Void Ray, and they can just go straight in, but now there's a second Void Ray.
And that does complicate things a ton. NightMare's done a lot. NightMare has sustained quite a number of casualties so far. Will MeomaikA be able to keep this up?
Oh, the Adept just barely survives. That was so huge, and now MeomaikA, what can he do with all these Lings? He's trying to distract the Void Rays. He's trying to get a kill in the natural. Yo, he's distracting the Void Rays.
Very well may be able to do
Yeah.
the Void Rays do maneuver around, but I'm not convinced that these two are going to be able to kill the Lings in time. MeomaikA gets the Nexus. He has started to drone up, but I'm worried about the follow-up from NightMare. He's still got 3 Void Rays. He can still send them across the map.
Yeah.
While MeomaikA has very limited anti-air.
This is the problem, right? Like, if these Void Rays are allowed to go across the map, he can end the game with 3 Void Rays. There's 1 Queen at home. This is the anti-air for MeomaikA. He doesn't have any spores. He will die to these Void Rays. MeomaikA has to do whatever he can to keep NightMare at home.
Yeah, and he is keeping 2 of the Void Rays back home. One of them still making its way across the map. But
Exactly.
1 Void Ray shouldn't be the biggest of deals here, especially with Spore Crawler.
Exactly. That's why it's so important that NightMare was able to keep this Stargate up and running and not depowered. And things are going to slow down a little bit here, and we'll see. I imagine MeomaikA is going to go into Hydras from here, right?
Well, it would track with how he's been playing out the series so far, and now he knows that there are these many Void Rays out. I mean, he's going to want a quick form of anti-air.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the big problem for MeomaikA now is that sure, he can get into Lair and sure, he can get into Hydras, but he does need a third base. A third base is required, and these Void Rays are going to give MeomaikA a very hard time in expanding.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy at all to get a third base out while, the creep isn't in position yet, the Spore Crawlers aren't burrowed by the third location, and you don't have Queens in the third base location.
Yeah, exactly. The Void Rays are doing a really good job at scouting and confirming that there is no third hatchery. There is the Hydra Den that we expected, and we could just see MeomaikA go for a follow-up. Ooh, he's not going for a Hydra push, he's going for a Nidus!
I love it. Hydra Den is out as the main form of anti-air, but yeah, this is a massive risk here for MeomaikA. He's well aware of the Void Rays out on the map, but you know, he is still sneaking in a couple of Overlords by the main base.
Yeah, the big question is how many Hydras are there going to be for this Nidus? Because I don't think there's going to be that many. Like, the Nidus is really cool. Is it going to be enough, though? We do have a Void Ray in the main base, but the Void Ray is on the way to deal with this Overlord. Oh, never mind.
Or is it?
He doesn't see it. Oh,
No, he checks.
Yeah.
There we go. And a bit of a blessing in disguise here for NightMare. He doesn't go for the Overlord instead, he goes straight for the Nidus.
Exactly, Nidus will not finish here, unfortunately. MeomaikA showed his hand, and unluckily for MeomaikA, there just happened to be a Void Ray in the general area. We do have another Nidus here outside of the natural base. The Void Rays, they're trying to look around, they're trying to hunt it down.
And they should be able to take it out before too many units make it out. No, the Queens are here in position. Actually, a lot of Queens.
Yeah, the Queens are here. They're able to transfuse. Creep is being spread. MeomaikA, he is executing his all-in. He does have a third base behind this, though. Again, this is a very, very good way to force all the Void Rays back home. So MeomaikA doesn't have to commit, and he is droning up. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, he doesn't have to commit, so he's not committing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a great way to give himself some room to expand, because you have to respect the Queens.
You absolutely do, even with a Disruptor out.
God, exactly.
Look
Right
at that.
now,
MeomaikA's just going back and forth.
well, all he's doing is
Nice.
he's just spreading creep. He's just being annoying. He's
He
just
is.
delaying bases. Oh, will he get the tumor? He will.
Oh, the transfuse on this Nidus is going to be enough to keep it alive. There should be enough energy for a creep tumor as well. Okay, doesn't throw it down yet, though.
Yeah, he doesn't end up throwing it down. Not in the end. Instead, we have creep here at home. Like, again, MeomaikA just doing things that he's never done before. He's spreading creep. Actually, look at him go.
With creep tumors?
With tumors.
Not with what?
Mate, this is the next GSL champion. Oh my god. Now, he has to be careful because the Disruptors are coming out, and yo, they're terrifying. Mate, he has to go back into the Nidus. He has to escape. No, MeomaikA, please.
MeomaikA will be able to make it out of there. I think one Queen went down? Yeah,
Yep.
one Queen went down.
One Queen. Oh boy. Meanwhile, there is mobile detection here for NightMare, so he can clean up all of this creep. Again, though, because of the creep, his third base has been delayed for an incredibly long period of time. And now, this is where I say, MeomaikA, you need a hive, you need Vipers. Because otherwise, you can overwhelm this with Ling Hydra. To be fair, right? It's possible, but it's so risky. You have to make sure that you avoid those Purification Novas.
That's the main thing, isn't it? The high-tech units, Immortals, Disruptors, and eventually Colossus don't have much of a buffer to them, so a good links around can absolutely shut down the Protoss army, but you don't want to take that chance, do you?
Yeah, and what happens when the Colossus comes out? You know, we already have one. Like, this is kind of scary. MeomaikA saw this army, and he's like, mate, I can take care of this. I can Ling Flood, and that's what he's doing. And to be fair, he's right. But he doesn't know about the Colossus.
Yeah, you can Ling Flood that army, not that army plus Colossus.
Maybe he can. Maybe we'll see. He's gonna try and execute it. He's.
Yeah, if he somehow is able to catch his army right in the middle of the map, ideally on a patch of creep as well, then yeah, sure, he can absolutely overwhelm the Colossus. Massive if, though.
Exactly, as we do have more Lings on the way. MeomaikA, he can hit a timing with +1 range. He does have a fourth base as well to just mass Lings across the map. And now MeomaikA is pulling the trigger. He has a Nidus. He's gonna have Queens as well.
Yeah, a little bit of an additional anti-air there, and of course transfuses are massive in this matchup.
That he does. Here we go. The Nidus does finish up in the middle of the map. MeomaikA actually doesn't pull the trigger here. Oh my god.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know he just really wanted to take out that Observer.
He didn't really want to kill the Observer, to be fair. But, oh god, the army does meet the Queens.
Queens. One queen will give up its life, and it was a high-energy queen.
Oh!
Unfortunately, the Lynx do get a bit of a surround on the army.
Mates. They get a massive
Colossal
surround on the
looking
army.
very
The disruptor
exposed.
goes down. The immortal goes down. There's only one disruptor and immortal remaining. But with the death of all the Lynx, that is the buffer for MeomaikA, and he does have to back off.
That he does. A lot of the Colossus were retreating to shield battery range as well. MeomaikA could not afford to take a chance and try to kill all those, not with all the shield batteries out.
Yeah, now NightMare, he's looking to counterattack. Okay, he does back off. The Void Rays are going to be looking to try and deny the space, and they arrive just in time to force a cancel. Up. Ooh.
Like so.
Exactly. Meanwhile, I love this from MeomaikA. We have a Muta switch coming out, and very little shoots up.
Well, you don't want to underestimate sentries.
True, but at the moment there is no storm. Oh, as I was saying, very little shoots up. Archons are on the way. That is the answer to mutas when it comes to the main army, but 16 mutas can still achieve a lot.
Yeah, you can definitely micro against the Archons, try to catch some of these units that are a lot more exposed, away from Archon range. NightMare will confirm that mutas are out now, though. Will be taking this a lot more seriously. Will be having his units hug the Archons.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we have a bit of a Zealot run back towards the bottom right. The Hydras have pushed in. He's getting us around on the first two Archons, and those are the only Archons that NightMare has.
Mate! He's getting on top of these Colossus. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have the DPS to take them out.
But you know what? The shield batteries are running out of energy. Again, the mutas are doing their job right now, and they are diving on top of the Void Race as well.
Are able to take them out. Actually, a little bit distracted by some stalkers on the ground, but he takes out the Void Rays and he takes out the sentries, which are the main threat here for the army of MeomaikA.
Yeah, exactly. Now the mutas do go straight to the natural base, getting the entire mineral line. Meanwhile, the main army is incredibly exposed. Right now is the opportunity to move. Like MeomaikA, you can just go for it.
MeomaikA doesn't have eyes on that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And the Zealots actually come back home, so they will be here to buffer and make sure those Colossus do not get surrounded.
But probe after probe after probe is still falling behind all of this.
But they are.
The shield batteries just not quite in position to defend against the mineral lines.
Yeah, the mutas, they wanted those Colossus, but they couldn't go for it. Meanwhile, if NightMare moves out into the middle of the map, that is the moment for MeomaikA to just dive on and just surround the army.
Absolutely. There's one patch of creep here. We're just giving
go,
MeomaikA
go.
vision. MeomaikA!
He's thinking
Actually,
about
does it go for the army?
Yeah,
he hesitated a bit.
He's going for it. He now realizes, you're in the middle of the map. You don't have any shield batteries. Now is my moment. Wait, he has to recall.
And trying to get a bit of a Suitus around. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to back away from here. MeomaikA a little bit distracted with these rocks. Doesn't really have anything in position to surround this army yet. A lot of stalkers too to help against the Mutalisks.
Yeah, here come the reinforcements. So again, MeomaikA wants to get us around, and he should be. The reinforcements are a little bit late, a little bit mistimed there.
Very, very mistimed, but the Colossus do get on top of the Corruptus rather do get on top of the Colossus, far away from shield battery range, and now MeomaikA is kind of getting outflanked as the Archons move in to deal with the rest of the Hydras. MeomaikA had a massive army lead, but with a very inefficient trade, has given it up.
Yeah, very mistimed there with those fights. Twice there, he attacked with half his army at a time. And just like that, NightMare, he takes both engagements. He's going for a counterattack. MeomaikA, he had it. He definitely had the ability to take the fight, but unfortunately, the mismicro, the mistiming, and now NightMare is in his face, and I don't think MeomaikA has enough to hold this.
He shouldn't, in all honesty. The Morphism has gotten into position as well. It is sieging up. So NightMare can continue to just reinforce this position over and over and over again. Beautiful force fields. Make sure that the Hydras just cannot get on top of that army. GG is called. NightMare takes that series 2-1, but it was probably one of the closest ZvPs I've seen from NightMare. Nice.
GG, well played. NightMare does take the series 2-1. MeomaikA was incredibly close to taking that series. He honestly was waiting for the moment to just dive on the army and go for the full surround, and he wanted to go for it, but his reinforcements were late.
And he almost had it.
He just didn't control his army well enough towards the end there, and he fell apart. As you said, he had like a 50 supply lead. And it was thrown away. GG, well played. MeomaikA was so close, and props to MeomaikA for improving to the level where he totally could have
for making it that close. Personally, I'm very proud of MeomaikA taking out Ragnarok 2-0.
Yeah.
And then almost beating NightMare here.
Almost, man.
Would have been the cherry on top to see him in a ZvT, but, you know, regardless, it is still a very impressive showing from our Vietnamese ZvP player. Now, we're going into a TVP.
We're gonna be following NightMare into his series against Gumiho, which is not quite a qualifying match, but we're getting pretty close. Oh my god, the entire bracket.
Yeah, if it was a few days. Yeah, if it was a few days ago, it would have been a qualifying match. But actually, all right. So we do only have 2 qualifying spots here today, as it is the final qualifier for the Asia server. When I looked at it, I thought, well, that means we thankfully should have a bit of a longer one, because I think our last TSL qualifier broadcast was like an hour and a half at that. But the bracket is advancing at about the same pace, honestly.